What if the Brangelina divorce wasn't just a personal tragedy, but a universal lesson? What if it served as a reminder that no relationship is immune to the forces of impermanence? By framing the situation through the lens of Buddhist philosophy, the Dalai Lama encouraged us to view the dissolution of the Jolie-Pitt marriage not as a failure, but as an opportunity for reflection. He reminded us that suffering is an inevitable part of life, that attachment leads to pain, and that compassion is essential for healing. At its core, the Brangelina divorce raises fundamental questions about the nature of commitment. What does it mean to truly commit to another person? Is it about staying together no matter what? Or is it about recognizing when a relationship has run its course? Can love exist without permanence? These are not easy questions to answer, but they are worth asking. For many, the idea of commitment is tied to longevity, to the belief that a successful relationship is one that lasts forever. Yet, the reality is far more nuanced. Relationships evolve over time, shaped by external pressures and internal dynamics. Sometimes, staying together requires sacrifice. Other times, letting go is the kindest choice. The challenge lies in discerning which path to take, a decision that demands honesty, courage, and self-awareness. Ultimately, the Brangelina divorce reminds us that love is messy, imperfect, and inherently human. It challenges us to redefine success, not as the absence of conflict or the achievement of permanence, but as the ability to grow, learn, and adapt. Whether a relationship ends in happily ever after or amicable separation, the true measure of its value lies in the impact it has on those involved. Did it bring joy? Did it foster growth? Did it leave a lasting legacy of kindness and understanding? As we reflect on the Brangelina saga, let us remember that behind every headline is a human story, a tapestry woven from threads of love, loss, and resilience. And perhaps, in acknowledging this shared humanity, we can find compassion not only for others, but also for ourselves. After all, isn't that what love is really about? If you found this exploration of the Brangelina divorce insightful, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more thought-provoking content like this. We dive deep into the stories that shape our world, offering unique perspectives and timeless wisdom. And hey, why keep all this goodness to yourself? Share this video with your friends, family, or anyone who loves a good discussion about life, love, and everything in between. Let's spark meaningful conversations together. Thank you for watching, and remember, life is a journey of constant learning. Stay compassionate and keep growing. Statement number 1. It is sad. The children might get closer to either the father or the mother. The Dalai Lama's statement, "It is sad. The children might get closer to either the father or the mother," may seem simple at first glance, but it carries profound wisdom when examined through the lens of Buddhist teachings. At its core, this reflection speaks to the emotional toll divorce takes on families, particularly children, and invites us to explore the intricate web of human suffering, compassion, and interconnectedness. In Buddhism, suffering, known as dukkha, is one of the Four Noble Truths, a foundational concept that highlights the inevitability of pain in human existence. While dukkha is often associated with physical discomfort, it extends far beyond bodily ailments to encompass the emotional and psychological distress that arises when our expectations clash with reality. In the case of divorce, the suffering manifests in countless ways, affecting both parents and children. For the parents, there is the grief of losing a partner, the guilt of breaking vows, and the fear of starting over. Even if the decision to separate is mutual, there remains a deep sense of loss, a mourning for what could have been. For the children, the impact can be even more devastating. Imagine being a child whose world suddenly fractures. One day, your parents are together. The next, they're apart. You may feel abandoned, confused, or insecure. Loyalty becomes a tightrope walk. Do I side with mom or dad? What happens if I choose wrong? These internal conflicts can leave lasting scars, shaping how you view relationships later in life. Buddhism teaches us that much of this suffering stems from attachment, upadana. When we cling too tightly to ideas, like the notion of a perfect family, or the belief that love should last forever, we set ourselves up for disappointment. The hard truth is that nothing in life is permanent. Relationships evolve, people change, and sometimes, despite our best efforts, things fall apart. Recognizing this impermanence doesn't diminish the pain of divorce, but it helps us approach it with greater equanimity. What if the Brangelina divorce wasn't just a personal tragedy, but a universal lesson? What if it served as a reminder that no relationship is immune to the forces of impermanence? By framing the situation through the lens of Buddhist philosophy, the Dalai Lama encouraged us to view the dissolution of the Jolie-Pitt marriage not as a failure, but as an opportunity for reflection. He reminded us that suffering is an inevitable part of life, that attachment leads to pain, and that compassion is essential for healing. At its core, the Brangelina divorce raises fundamental questions about the nature of commitment. What does it mean to truly commit to another person? Is it about staying together no matter what? Or is it about recognizing when a relationship has run its course? Can love exist without permanence? These are not easy questions to answer, but they are worth asking. For many, the idea of commitment is tied to longevity, to the belief that a successful relationship is one that lasts forever. Yet, the reality is far more nuanced. Relationships evolve over time, shaped by external pressures and internal dynamics. Sometimes, staying together requires sacrifice. Other times, letting go is the kindest choice. The challenge lies in discerning which path to take, a decision that demands honesty, courage, and self-awareness. Ultimately, the Brangelina divorce reminds us that love is messy, imperfect, and inherently human. It challenges us to redefine success, not as the absence of conflict or the achievement of permanence, but as the ability to grow, learn, and adapt. Whether a relationship ends in happily ever after or amicable separation, the true measure of its value lies in the impact it has on those involved. Did it bring joy? Did it foster growth? Did it leave a lasting legacy of kindness and understanding? As we reflect on the Brangelina saga, let us remember that behind every headline is a human story, a tapestry woven from threads of love, loss, and resilience. And perhaps, in acknowledging this shared humanity, we can find compassion not only for others, but also for ourselves. After all, isn't that what love is really about? If you found this exploration of the Brangelina divorce insightful, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more thought-provoking content like this. We dive deep into the stories that shape our world, offering unique perspectives and timeless wisdom. And hey, why keep all this goodness to yourself? Share this video with your friends, family, or anyone who loves a good discussion about life, love, and everything in between. Let's spark meaningful conversations together. Thank you for watching, and remember, life is a journey of constant learning. Stay compassionate and keep growing. Statement number 1. It is sad. The children might get closer to either the father or the mother. The Dalai Lama's statement, "It is sad. The children might get closer to either the father or the mother," may seem simple at first glance, but it carries profound wisdom when examined through the lens of Buddhist teachings. At its core, this reflection speaks to the emotional toll divorce takes on families, particularly children, and invites us to explore the intricate web of human suffering, compassion, and interconnectedness. In Buddhism, suffering, known as dukkha, is one of the Four Noble Truths, a foundational concept that highlights the inevitability of pain in human existence. While dukkha is often associated with physical discomfort, it extends far beyond bodily ailments to encompass the emotional and psychological distress that arises when our expectations clash with reality. In the case of divorce, the suffering manifests in countless ways, affecting both parents and children. For the parents, there is the grief of losing a partner, the guilt of breaking vows, and the fear of starting over. Even if the decision to separate is mutual, there remains a deep sense of loss, a mourning for what could have been. For the children, the impact can be even more devastating. Imagine being a child whose world suddenly fractures. One day, your parents are together. The next, they're apart. You may feel abandoned, confused, or insecure. Loyalty becomes a tightrope walk. Do I side with mom or dad? What happens if I choose wrong? These internal conflicts can leave lasting scars, shaping how you view relationships later in life. Buddhism teaches us that much of this suffering stems from attachment, upadana. When we cling too tightly to ideas, like the notion of a perfect family, or the belief that love should last forever, we set ourselves up for disappointment. The hard truth is that nothing in life is permanent. Relationships evolve, people change, and sometimes, despite our best efforts, things fall apart. Recognizing this impermanence doesn't diminish the pain of divorce, but it helps us approach it with greater equanimity. Instead of resisting change, we learn to flow with it, embracing the messy, imperfect beauty of human connection. The Dalai Lama's expression of sadness also reflects compassion, karuna, a central tenet of Buddhism. Compassion goes beyond mere sympathy. It's about truly seeing someone suffering, understanding its roots, and wishing for its alleviation. When the Dalai Lama says, "It is sad," he's not just acknowledging the situation, he's extending empathy to everyone involved, the parents, the children, and even the millions of people around the world who felt invested in the Brangelina story. How often do we pause to genuinely empathize with others during times of crisis? In our fast-paced, hyper-connected world, it's easy to scroll past headlines without giving them a second thought. Yet, the Dalai Lama reminds us that every act of suffering deserves recognition. By expressing sadness, he invites us to cultivate compassion, not just for celebrities, but for everyone navigating the messy terrain of relationships. After all, haven't we all experienced heartbreak in some form? Haven't we all known the sting of unmet expectations? Whether it's the end of a friendship, the loss of a job, or the dissolution of a romantic relationship, we've all felt the ache of something slipping through our fingers. The Dalai Lama's words remind us that suffering is universal, and so is the capacity for compassion. When we open our hearts to others' pain, we create space for healing, not just for them, but for ourselves as well. Interdependence, pratitya samutpada, is another cornerstone of Buddhist philosophy that resonates deeply with the Dalai Lama's statement. Interdependence teaches us that nothing exists in isolation. Every action has consequences, and every individual is part of a vast web of relationships. In the context of divorce, this principle becomes especially poignant. When a marriage ends, it doesn't just affect the couple. It reverberates throughout the entire family system. Consider the children caught in the middle. Their loyalty may shift toward one parent over the other, creating tension and imbalance. Extended family members may take sides, further complicating matters. Friends and acquaintances may offer unsolicited advice, adding fuel to the fire. All of these interactions highlight the intricate dance of cause and effect that defines human relationships. As the Dalai Lama suggests, no one operates in a vacuum. Our choices ripple outward, touching lives in ways we may never fully comprehend. Take, for example, the impact on grandparents. A divorce doesn't just split a household. It can divide extended families, leaving elderly relatives feeling torn between their son or daughter and their grandchildren. Or consider the friends who must navigate awkward social situations, unsure of which parent to align with during gatherings or events. Even teachers and counselors may notice changes in a child's behavior, requiring adjustments in how they provide support. This interconnectedness underscores the importance of mindfulness in our actions. Before making decisions, whether big or small, we must consider their broader implications. Will this choice bring harmony or discord? Will it heal wounds or deepen divides? By approaching divorce with awareness of its ripple effects, we can minimize harm and foster healthier outcomes for everyone involved. From a Buddhist perspective, parents bear a karmic responsibility to provide stability and nurturing for their children. This duty extends beyond material needs to encompass emotional and psychological well-being. Divorce disrupts this equilibrium, potentially leaving children feeling adrift. However, the Dalai Lama doesn't advocate for staying in unhealthy relationships solely for the sake of the kids. Instead, he emphasizes mindfulness. If divorce is necessary, approach it with awareness of its impact. Communicate openly with your children. Reassure them of your love. Strive to maintain a cooperative co-parenting relationship. This brings us to another important concept: karma. In Buddhism, karma refers to the law of moral causation, the idea that our actions shape our future experiences. Entering a marriage with pure intentions to support, care for, and grow with another person creates positive karma. Conversely, marrying out of selfish motives or societal pressure plants seeds of discontent. So, before walking down the aisle, ask yourself, what are my intentions? Am I seeking genuine connection, or am I chasing an illusion? The same principle applies to parenting post-divorce. Every interaction with your children carries karmic weight. Are you speaking kindly, even in moments of frustration? Are you prioritizing their needs over your own ego? Are you modeling healthy conflict resolution, showing them that disagreements don't have to lead to estrangement? These small daily choices accumulate, shaping not only your children's present, but also their future. Ultimately, the Dalai Lama's wisdom reminds us that divorce isn't just a legal process. It's a spiritual journey. It challenges us to confront our attachments, practice compassion, and honor the interconnectedness of all beings. By approaching it with mindfulness and intention, we can transform a painful experience into an opportunity for growth. For ourselves, our children, and everyone touched by the ripple effects of our choices. In doing so, we not only navigate the complexities of human relationships with greater grace, but also contribute to a more compassionate and interconnected world. Statement number 2. I think marriage is the first step towards divorce. On the surface, the Dalai Lama's statement that marriage is the first step towards divorce might seem humorous or even dismissive. Yet, beneath its playful tone lies a profound observation, one that challenges our deeply ingrained beliefs about permanence, attachment, and the nature of relationships. At its heart, this remark invites us to reflect on the impermanent nature of all things, a cornerstone of Buddhist philosophy known as anicca. Everything in life is transient, from the changing seasons to the aging of our bodies, and relationships are no exception. While we enter marriages with hopes of permanence, the reality is that no bond is immune to the forces of change. People grow, circumstances shift, and priorities evolve. Sometimes, despite our best efforts, relationships dissolve. The Dalai Lama's quip serves as a gentle reminder of this truth. Clinging to the illusion of permanence sets us up for disappointment. Instead, embracing the impermanent nature of all things allows us to approach relationships with greater equanimity. By accepting that nothing lasts forever, we free ourselves from unrealistic expectations and learn to cherish relationships while they last. Rather than fearing loss, we can celebrate presence, savoring each moment of connection without obsessing over how long it will endure. After all, isn't life itself a series of fleeting moments strung together? If we can embrace this perspective, we may find that impermanence doesn't diminish the value of our connections. It enhances it. Non-attachment, Vairāgyai, another central tenet of Buddhism, further deepens this understanding. Contrary to popular misconceptions, non-attachment doesn't mean avoiding relationships altogether. It means engaging in them fully and authentically, but without clinging. Imagine two people committing to love each other deeply in the present moment. knowing that the future is uncertain. They build a life together, sharing joy and sorrow, triumphs and struggles, but without demanding eternity. Wouldn't that require immense courage? To love someone wholeheartedly while simultaneously accepting that the relationship may not last forever is a radical act of vulnerability and trust. Non-attachment invites us to love deeply yet lightly, cherishing the journey rather than fixating on the destination. It encourages us to focus on the quality of our connections rather than their duration. How many relationships suffer because one or both partners cling too tightly to the idea of forever? Fear of loss can lead to possessiveness, jealousy, and stagnation, all of which undermine the very foundation of love. By practicing non-attachment, we create space for growth, freedom, and mutual respect within our relationships. Picture planting a garden. You nurture the soil, water the seeds, and watch the plants grow. But you don't demand that the flowers bloom indefinitely. You appreciate their beauty while they last, knowing that their life cycle is part of nature's rhythm. Similarly, when we approach relationships with non-attachment, we allow them to unfold naturally, without forcing them into molds they weren't meant to fit. This mindset doesn't guarantee that every relationship will succeed, but it does ensure that we engage with others from a place of authenticity and openness. Karma and intention also play a crucial role in shaping the quality of our relationships. In Buddhism, intention, cetana, determines the moral weight of our actions, influencing not only our present experiences but also our future ones. When it comes to marriage, intention matters immensely. If a couple marries with pure intentions to support, care for, and grow with each other, their union has a greater chance of flourishing, even if it eventually dissolves. On the other hand, entering marriage with selfish motives or unrealistic expectations plants seeds of discontent. Before saying "I do," it's worth asking, why am I doing this? Am I seeking genuine connection, or am I trying to fill a void within myself? Am I marrying out of societal pressure, fear of loneliness, or a desire for validation? Or am I entering this partnership because I truly wish to share my life with someone else, flaws and all? These questions are essential, not just for the success of the marriage, but for personal growth as well. Karma reminds us that our actions ripple outward, affecting not only ourselves, but also those around us. A marriage built on kindness, respect, and mutual understanding creates positive energy that benefits everyone involved. Conversely, a marriage rooted in ego, control, or resentment generates negative energy that can harm both partners and their loved ones. By aligning our intentions with compassion and self-awareness, we set the stage for healthier, more meaningful relationships, whether they last a lifetime or come to an end. Finally, let's appreciate the Dalai Lama's use of humor as a teaching tool. Life is heavy enough as it is, filled with work, family, and the myriad challenges of modern existence. Humor, in this context, becomes a lifeline, a way to lighten the load and make difficult topics more accessible. By joking about marriage, leading to divorce, the Dalai Lama softens the blow of a painful subject, making it easier to digest. His humor serves as a bridge, connecting us to deeper truths without overwhelming us. Isn't that beautiful? Laughter reminds us that even in moments of darkness, there's room for levity and grace. It allows us to confront uncomfortable realities without becoming consumed by despair. Consider how humor works in everyday life. When faced with adversity, a well-timed joke can diffuse tension, foster connection, and provide much-needed perspective. The Dalai Lama's playful remark about marriage does exactly that. It invites us to laugh at the absurdity of human expectations, while gently nudging us toward greater wisdom. Moreover, humor has a unique ability to transcend cultural and linguistic barriers. Whether you're a devout Buddhist or someone unfamiliar with Eastern philosophies, the Dalai Lama's wit resonates universally. It speaks to the shared human experience of love, loss, and impermanence. Through laughter, he reminds us that we're all in this together. that none of us is immune to the ups and downs of life. And perhaps, in finding humor in our struggles, we discover a path toward healing and acceptance. In essence, the Dalai Lama's seemingly lighthearted statement contains multitudes. It challenges us to embrace impermanence, practice non-attachment, align our intentions with compassion, and find joy even in life's most challenging moments. By doing so, we not only navigate the complexities of relationships with greater wisdom, but also cultivate a deeper appreciation for the fleeting beauty of human connection. After all, isn't that what life is all about? Broader implications: navigating relationships with wisdom and equanimity. Both of the Dalai Lama's statements reflect key principles of Buddhist philosophy: impermanence, non-attachment, compassion, and interdependence. Together, they offer a roadmap for navigating the complexities of human relationships. Not just romantic ones, but all forms of connection. These teachings are not abstract ideals meant only for monks or spiritual seekers. They are practical tools we can use to live more mindfully, authentically, and harmoniously in our everyday lives. Here's how we can apply these teachings to our own lives. Accept that everything changes. Whether it's a friendship, a career, or a marriage, nothing lasts forever. This truth might feel unsettling at first. After all, humans crave stability and security, but resisting change only amplifies suffering. Instead, leaning into impermanence allows us to fully experience life as it unfolds. Consider the fleeting beauty of a flower in bloom. Its temporary nature is what makes it so precious. Similarly, recognizing that every relationship has its season encourages us to savor each moment rather than clinging to unrealistic expectations. Think about the people who have come and gone in your life, the childhood friends you've lost touch with, the mentors who guided you during pivotal moments, or even past romantic partners who shaped who you are today. Each connection, no matter how brief, left an imprint on your journey. By embracing impermanence, we learn to appreciate the richness of these experiences without being paralyzed by fear of loss. We begin to see endings not as failures, but as natural transitions, opportunities to grow and evolve. And isn't there something liberating about knowing that nothing is permanent? It frees us from the pressure to get it right all the time and invites us to simply be present. Compassion is the heartbeat of meaningful relationships. The Dalai Lama reminds us that extending empathy to others, especially during times of struggle, is one of the most profound gifts we can offer. Life is hard for everyone, though the specifics may differ. Some carry visible burdens, like illness or financial hardship, while others wrestle with invisible battles, such as loneliness, self-doubt, or grief. Recognizing this shared humanity softens our hearts and opens us to deeper connections. Imagine encountering someone in distress, a friend going through a breakup, a coworker overwhelmed by deadlines, or even a stranger struggling to carry heavy bags. A simple act of kindness, a listening ear, a reassuring word, or a helping hand can make all the difference. Compassion doesn't require grand gestures. Often, it's the small, thoughtful actions that resonate most deeply. When we practice compassion, we create ripples of positivity that extend far beyond the immediate moment. Moreover, compassion benefits not only the recipient, but also the giver. Studies show that acts of kindness boost our own well-being, fostering a sense of purpose and fulfillment. But cultivating compassion isn't always easy. It requires patience, especially when dealing with difficult people or challenging situations. Yet, even in those moments, we can choose to respond with understanding rather than judgment. Ask yourself, what might this person be experiencing beneath the surface? Could their behavior stem from pain or fear? Approaching others with curiosity and empathy transforms conflict into an opportunity for growth for both parties. Non-attachment is perhaps one of the most misunderstood yet transformative principles of Buddhism. It doesn't mean detaching emotionally or avoiding close relationships. On the contrary, non-attachment invites us to love deeply and authentically while releasing the need to control outcomes. This balance is delicate but powerful. Picture a river flowing freely. It adapts to obstacles, carving new paths without losing its essence. In the same way, practicing non-attachment allows us to navigate relationships with flexibility and grace. Consider romantic relationships, where attachment often manifests as possessiveness or fear of abandonment. These emotions can suffocate love, turning it into something conditional and restrictive. Non-attachment, however, encourages us to cherish our partners for who they are in the present moment, without projecting rigid expectations onto the future. It means loving them fully while respecting their autonomy and individuality. This approach fosters trust, freedom, and mutual respect, the cornerstones of healthy partnerships. Non-attachment applies equally to friendships, familial bonds, and professional relationships. For instance, if a close friend moves away or drifts apart over time, practicing non-attachment helps us honor the memories of our connection without clinging to what once was. Similarly, in work settings, letting go of attachment to specific outcomes, such as promotions or recognition, allows us to focus on doing our best and finding joy in the process itself. Ultimately, non-attachment teaches us to hold space for others without binding them to our desires or fears. It's a radical act of love, one that honors the ebb and flow of life. Interdependence is a reminder that none of us exists in isolation. Every action we take sends ripples across the web of relationships that connect us all. This principle challenges the myth of independence, the belief that we can thrive alone without relying on others. While self-reliance is valuable, true strength lies in recognizing our interconnectedness and using it to uplift those around us. In relationships, acknowledging interdependence means considering the broader impact of our words and actions. Before making decisions, ask yourself, how will this affect my partner, family, colleagues, or community? Will it bring harmony or discord? For example, a seemingly minor argument with a spouse could influence their mood, which in turn affects their interactions with coworkers or children. Conversely, a kind gesture, like offering support during a stressful day, can inspire someone to pay it forward, creating a chain reaction of positivity. Interdependence also extends to larger societal issues. Our choices as consumers, voters, and global citizens shape the world we live in. Supporting ethical businesses, advocating for social justice, or volunteering in our communities reflects an awareness of our role within the collective whole. By striving to create harmony rather than discord, we contribute to a culture of compassion and cooperation. After all, when we nurture the well-being of others, we ultimately enrich our own lives as well. At the core of every action lies intention, cetana, a concept central to Buddhist teachings. Our motivations determine the quality of our relationships and the legacy we leave behind. Are we acting out of love, generosity, and a desire to serve? Or are we driven by ego, insecurity, or the need for validation? Reflecting on our intentions helps us align our actions with our highest values, ensuring that we move through life with integrity and purpose. Take, for instance, the decision to enter a relationship. Are you seeking genuine connection, or are you trying to fill a void within yourself? Are you motivated by societal expectations, fear of loneliness, or a desire for status? These questions aren't always comfortable to confront, but they're essential for building authentic, sustainable relationships. Similarly, in friendships or professional settings, examining our motives ensures that we engage with others from a place of sincerity, rather than ulterior agendas. Intentions also play a crucial role in resolving conflicts. When disagreements arise, pausing to reflect on why we feel hurt or frustrated can prevent reactive behaviors that escalate tension. Are we defending our pride, or are we genuinely concerned about the other person's well-being? By grounding ourselves in compassionate intentions, we transform arguments into opportunities for mutual understanding and growth. Ultimately, reflecting on our intentions empowers us to live consciously. It reminds us that every choice matters, not just for ourselves, but for the interconnected web of life we're part of. trusting that our actions, rooted in good intentions, will ripple outward in ways we may never fully comprehend, gives us the courage to keep moving forward, even in uncertain times. By embracing impermanence, cultivating compassion, practicing non-attachment, acknowledging interdependence, and reflecting on our intentions, we equip ourselves with the tools needed to navigate the complexities of human relationships with wisdom and equanimity. These principles don't promise a life free of challenges. They remind us that challenges are inevitable, but they do offer a path toward greater peace, resilience, and fulfillment. After all, isn't that what we're all searching for? A life rich with meaning, connection, and love, even amidst the inevitable changes and uncertainties of existence. Final thoughts. A call to conscious living as we reflect on the Dalai Lama's words. Let's remember that relationships are mirrors. They show us who we are and who we aspire to be. Every interaction, whether fleeting or enduring, reveals something about our values, fears, desires, and vulnerabilities. The dissolution of any bond, whether it's a marriage, a friendship, or a partnership, is not merely an ending but also a profound opportunity for growth. It forces us to confront uncomfortable truths, our fears of abandonment, our struggles with forgiveness, or our tendency to cling to what no longer serves us. It challenges us to reassess our priorities and redefine what truly matters in life. Are we holding on to people out of obligation, fear, or habit? Or are we nurturing connections that align with our deepest values, those rooted in authenticity, compassion, and mutual respect? So, I leave you with this question. How will you navigate your own relationships? Will you cling to illusions of permanence, believing that love must last forever to be meaningful? Or will you embrace impermanence with grace, cherishing each moment without demanding eternity? Will you approach others with judgment, criticism, or defensiveness? Or will you extend compassion, recognizing that everyone is fighting battles invisible to the eye? Life is inherently unpredictable, a dance of constant change where nothing remains static. Yet, so often we resist this rhythm, clinging desperately to control and certainty. But what if instead of resisting, we learned to flow with it? What if we saw change not as a threat, but as an invitation to grow, to adapt, and to deepen our understanding of ourselves and others? And perhaps, in doing so, you'll discover a deeper sense of peace, not just in your relationships, but within your very soul. This peace doesn't come from external validation or the absence of conflict. It arises from within, from embracing the ebb and flow of life with openness and equanimity. It comes from knowing that while relationships may end, their impact lingers, shaping us in ways both seen and unseen. Each connection leaves its mark, teaching us lessons about patience, empathy, resilience, and self-awareness. Over time, these lessons accumulate, helping us become better partners, friends, parents, and human beings. For in the end, isn't that what we're all searching for? Peace, connection, meaning, love. These are the threads that weave through every aspect of our lives, binding us together in shared humanity. They remind us that despite our differences, we all yearn for belonging, for moments of genuine connection that transcend the boundaries of time, culture, and circumstance. And yet, these moments are fragile, fleeting, and precious. To find them requires courage. The courage to be vulnerable, to let go, and to trust in the process of life itself. May you find this peace, and may you share it generously with the world. For when we radiate kindness, compassion, and understanding, we create ripples that extend far beyond ourselves. A single act of love can inspire another, setting off a chain reaction of positivity that touches countless lives. So, as you move forward, carry these reflections with you. Let them guide your choices, shape your interactions, and illuminate your path. Whether you're mending a fractured relationship, navigating the complexities of a new one, or simply striving to connect more deeply with those around you, remember that every step you take matters. You have the power to transform not only your own life, but also the lives of others. And in doing so, you contribute to a world that is kinder, wiser, and more interconnected. A world where love, in all its forms, continues to flourish, even amidst the inevitable changes and challenges of existence.